Miss Sabrina, speak. Rob, what's up, Rob? We about to have a party in here. Miss Sabrina, speak to any. I know I saw you in the comments, and Vada, I'm gonna get you up here too, Vada. And any other woman that wants to come up here, um, speak to any disagreements. Speak to any disagreements. You may have heard any of these brothers spew because I saw you in the comments. Saying that you disagree with something, or you disagree with some things that was being said. So do your thing. Address any of these brothers. Address me. I ain't really been saying too much, but
Yeah, I kind of got in here late, and I'm not sure who was speaking there that was talking about the 30-year-old women, how they're kind of set in their ways and they don't want to listen or be guided. That
that was
I'm not
That
sure.
was me.
black. That was
That was
Black
me.
Jesus. That was
That was
Oh,
me.
Artie
okay.
at the bottom,
That was
Yeah,
me.
and Zilla.
I mean, I have a strong reaction to that just because I disagree, but I guess it would chalk up to your experiences, right? I'm pretty sure they have plenty of instances where they can give examples to that to be true. However, I think it boils down to being um, honest early on in the relationship. Like they were speaking on, if you go to her house, you know what I mean, to get the draws and somebody else is there, that's a red flag that you don't want to be messing with her.
Right.
If you're dating early on and you notice that she likes to take control of everything and not really let you have your say, well, there it is there. But I don't really see that being a 30-year-old thing. Personally, from a place where I'm at, I would appreciate someone who would lead, someone who would take charge, someone to, you know what I mean, to have that role. So I personally don't see that that would be majority or all women.
What does
Um,
leadership mean to you?
No, you got to get her age first.
I'm in my 30s, my
That's
late
why.
Okay.
30s.
That's why.
Okay.
Right. I mean, me personally, I know that I wouldn't be a person like you
Talk,
described. So that's
talk
why I
about
disagree
23 year
with it.
old you,
Right.
though. You got to talk about young you, though. 23, 21-year-old you would do what?
Um, I was a wild 20-year-old, so I really wasn't worried about settling down or anything like that.
Exactly.
So, but you had mentioned that it was 30-year-olds who were set a certain
Right.
mind frame, which I don't believe
You
majority are.
just you just validated.
Okay.
You just said it.
How is that validating it?
I didn't mean to interrupt because you just said you're older. You see value in taking a man leading. You know what I mean? Allowing that man to lead. When you're younger, you're like, I'm gonna do my thing. I ain't worried about that, right?
Uh, yeah, I mean, it's based off of experiences.
Oh,
Um,
exactly.
that's not
So
to say that every.
but it's the same thing as when a woman bases when she dates a man and says that a man has to do this and do that, and if he don't do that, off of her experiences, if a man was already doing that, that would be something she didn't need to state. So I'm just simply saying that when you're an older man, if you're dealing with an older woman, unless she's willing to allow you to lead like you are, which is great, amazing, I appreciate that. There are a lot of women who are not willing at the age that we are at, that's not willing to do that. They're stuck in their ways and they're like, if I'm going to deal with someone, I'm going to deal with someone the way I want to deal with them, or I'm not dealing with no one at all. Versus a younger person, they don't haven't gotten to that point in their life where they're, I wouldn't say you're at a wall, but it's almost like, look, I'm getting older. I need to get out of my ways. I need to not be so stern on certain things and have wiggle room. You have wiggle room with a younger woman versus an older woman. That's completely true.
You know what? I don't think it's so much of an age factor as an experience and a maturity thing. Everybody who's 40 ain't mature, and everybody who's 20 is not.
But,
You know what I
but
mean? Learning and immature. It's
But we're
life
talking about in
experiences. I could.
general, though. We can't take the small amounts because the majority of older people know what they want versus the small minority. We can't use those little factors or pockets of people. Yeah, there's younger people who are better suited adults than older people, but they are not a representation of younger people, are they? So we can't use that argument.
I just think it's invalid to mask all 30-year-olds as being in that place. Now
I
I
didn't say
can
all.
say okay, but I was
Well,
just
hold
going
on.
off
I
of what
think
you
that
had said originally.
Brina,
It's all love, though. I'm not arguing.
you
I'm just saying.
you aren't. Yeah, I don't feel like
I'm
you're arguing at all.
No, I'm
And
a
okay.
debater, though.
one
I'm a
of the
debater.
questions, yeah, one of the questions I have for you, is so how does um leadership from a man manifest in a relationship with you? What does that mean? What is he doing if he's leading you in a relationship?
Simply put, I'm not waiting on everyday life to be uh, let me see if I can give you an example. Because I mean, at the very simplistic core of it, it's everyday life that choices, decisions that are made without having me to initiate it. And that could be anything from, hey, I'm going to go wash the car to, hey, I paid that bill, I took care of it, or here, we need to sit down and have a conversation about A, B, and C. Now, that's not to say that I want a man to do that 100% of the time, but that would be part of the leadership, right? Taking that initiative on everyday things in life and making the situation run smoothly, if that makes sense.
All right, now I
Wait,
don't.
guys, let me reset the room real quick. Let me reset the room real quick. Um, Listen, welcome to everyone in here. Those of y'all that know me, those of y'all that don't, welcome. Listen, y'all see the topics, y'all see the questions up there. I was having a discussion with some women last night. I just want to let you guys know why what's up there is up there. I was having a discussion with some women last night. Some of them might even be here right now. Um, this 29-year-old woman that is single and childless, or actually she's dating someone. She said that she doesn't want to have children until she's in her late 30s. She says she wants to live her best life and experience things. And I told her, I was like a man that's between the ages of like 25 and 40, that's like, childless, when they decide that they want to have children, they're not going to be, and I'm sorry to if anyone in here, if I offend anyone, what I'm about to say, but I might speak the truth. They're not going to be running to women that are like 35 and older. They are going to want to have children with women that are in their mid 20s to early 30s, the latest. That's not to say that women that are in their mid 30s and up don't have any options, but to think that if you think that you're about to wait till you like 37, 38, you about to have a men running and lining up to have children with you, that's not going to be the case. I'll speak to that too, what you just said, friend. Um, um, that's just not the case. Um, and just in general, this is gonna sound really bad too, but in this country, and this how it's been for a long time, and probably how it's always going to be, a lot of men prioritize youth and beauty over age and maturity. And they were trying to what some rebuttals that they were trying to use was the whole well, what if he wants like a more mature lady? Ladies and gentlemen, me personally, I don't link age and maturity together. People, when they want to be mature, when they want to get mature, they will
Right.
be mature and like get mature. When they want to become wise, they will do that. I don't, because there's people that are significantly older than me that are much more mature and much more wise than me, and there are people that are significantly older than me and they're way more immature than I am, and they're not mature at all, and they're not wise. So we're not gonna link them two together. They were trying to use the whole, well, what if you want some more educated woman, and that's why the third question is up there. Listen, for those of y'all, whether you want to accept this or not, men are visual, men are physical. Okay, so if a man doesn't find you attractive to start off with, your education and all your career and your accomplishments and your success, it's not gonna matter to him at the end of the day. If you find a guy that does find you attractive, he will respect that stuff and he will appreciate it. But like I always tell you guys, some of us men know that we're supposed to be providers and protectors. So um, you know, anything else that you can like help bring and add is cool. But some men aren't looking, like Mr. Marty was saying earlier. They're not looking for you to provide for them. They're not looking for you to do all these different things that a lot of women are looking for men to do for them. Um, what else do I have up there? Yeah. And then okay, this is nothing they were saying. Well, with the technology today, there's all this stuff that, a woman can have children later in life. Ladies and gentlemen, you women can continue to use that argument, but the reality of the situation is that most average women, most average women do not even have enough, can't afford to like freeze their eggs. Um, 8 or 9 out of 10 women cannot afford a surrogate. So we can talk about what could be done and what can't be done. But in reality, If you can't even afford it to start off with, we shouldn't even be discussing it. And let me before I have Miss Brina talk, let me just read something for you guys real quick. And y'all know I always have accredited sources. Let me just read this for you guys. So, egg freezing costs are expensive. A single cycle can average anywhere from $6,000 to $20,000. That doesn't include the $500 to $600 yearly storage costs. But even with high costs, there's no guarantee of success. Egg freezing success rates remain low. And let me just read. Okay, come back, Ms. Brina. Let me just read one more thing for you guys. American surrogacy costs range from $75,000 to $125,000. Circle surrogacy ranges from $100,000 to $150,000 and can increase if initial attempts at fertilization are unsuccessful. So I want all the women in here. I want y'all to tell me, out of 10 women, how many of them just got $75,000 at the very minimum, to like throw around, and the whole cycle from 6,000 to 20,000 for the freezing egg cost. How many women can really afford to do that? So we gotta stop talking about stuff that's not realistic for a lot of people. So Miss Brina, can you hear us? You still got the echo?
I'm good now.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you these questions, and I want you to like honestly answer how you feel about them. So let's start with the first question. Um, do childless men between the ages of 25 and 40 prefer to have children with women 35 plus or women in their mid 20s to early 30s? What is your honest answer to that, and why do you feel however you feel?
I mean, it's definitely 20s to 30s.
And why do you feel that way?
Kind of everything you touched on. It's just there's that biology with it. You know what I mean? Like your eggs are gonna be younger, you're gonna be younger. You know what I'm saying? That's just a part of life. I think it's a natural thing to be attracted to younger women, and that's usually the ages to procreate. You know what I mean? So um, I definitely think it's preferable for 20s to 30s.
Okay. I agree with you. Second question. Do you think most men between the ages of 25 and 40 that date older women, and when I'm talking about older women, I'm just talking about women that are like, 35, 35 and up, not calling them old, but that's the group of what I'm talking about. Do you think men that date these women, and these women that I'm talking about, they are childless as well? Do you think that most of the men that date these women have serious long-term plans with them?
So you're saying most men who date the older range of women, if they have serious long-term plans with them, um,
Yes.
if they're of the same age, then I think so. Around the same age, absolutely. I don't see that would be. I feel
Okay,
like
so
if you're
let's use
gonna,
this. Go ahead.
no, go ahead.
So you're telling me that a 35-year-old man that is childless, and he's just been working on himself this whole time, getting himself together, getting his money up, but he does want to start a family, he does want to have children, he does want to like get a house and cars and do all that American dream da stuff. You're telling me that he would, even that 35-year-old man, he would prefer to like have a woman that's uh 35 years old instead of um a younger woman.
Well, that's kind of a different question. That's, if he's messing around and continuously dating that age bracket, then he should want those plans and those things with him. What would be the benefit of him being in dating an age bracket that he's not interested in settling down with? A man who has a stable mind to build and really wants that relationship stability, I don't see him playing around with people he doesn't necessarily see to be in that picture. Just that doesn't make sense to me.
But this is my point. This is my point I'm trying to make. If I was to date a 35-year-old woman, or a 36 or a 37 or 38-year-old woman, and I was to date her for 2 or 3 years, and we used to go our separate ways, I would be 27, 28 when I'm done dating that woman, and I'm still when we're done, I'm still doing extremely well for myself. Like, what I'm trying to get, what the point I'm trying to make is that in our country, whether older women want to like agree with this or not, for young men, dating older women and doing physical things with older women is more of a thrill than anything else. There's not
Right. I
there's
mean,
not a lot of young men. There's not a lot of even men in their age range that are dating them for like serious relationships. Like even even like a man like you said, like the 30, like as men get older and they become more accomplished and more successful, they're already going to be more attractive to like younger women in the first place. Like we have Mr. Marty in here, successful brother, got his own company, blah blah blah. He is 41, Miss Sabrina. He's currently dating women between the ages of 27 and like 32. So to think that it's, especially if you're a woman that you already don't have a child, if you think that these younger men is out here really trying to like pursue serious relationships, like I said,
yeah, but
even go ahead.
based off of what you mentioned, though, if somebody's in a 3-year relationship, fetish or not, that's bogus. So, yeah, I mean, obviously, there's that fetish to that younger dudes are gonna mess with older women. I get that. That's definitely a thing. But if you're saying the majority of young men are running around dating older women for 3-4 years, I don't buy that it's just a fetish situation. Not saying that majority of the times it's that. I'm just saying that in that scenario, that necessarily wouldn't be the case.
Like
I'm
I
what
would
I'm
say
saying
that,
though, Miss Sabrina, is woman. Go ahead, Mr. Marty. Go
yeah,
ahead.
so the age that the majority of women in pretty much every group of women marry, every culture of women marry, is between the ages of 22 and 26. Of the women that get married, most of them get married during that period of time. Now, in our cultural group, we're seeing the women are marrying closer to between 31 and 34, and we have incredibly low marital numbers. They're higher this year than they were last year, which is great because they're directionally moving better. But I think once the baby boomers fall out of these numbers for married Black folks, we're going to see that we're married in the 15 to 20% range instead of the 25% range. But right now, only 1 in 4 of our women are marrying ever, and I think that's because, and you said this, and I hear women kind of make an argument that's set up this way a lot of times. And there's a woman called Warrior Mama right now in the comment section. She's making this argument, and I call them the anecdotal argument. And the anecdotal argument is an argument that ignores what's true about the majority, because you'll hear women say, well, I'm not going to speak for all people, or I'm special, or I'm different. And to me, it's kind of this thing where people say, well, what I see happening to most people isn't going to apply to me because I'm special. But what we're seeing is that it does apply, because you'll be talking to a woman that's, in her 30s or possibly in her 40s, and she's single, and all the things that are normal and average and are happening to the average woman are happening to her, but she just doesn't think it's going to stick because she's special. And so we
That's a
make the
little
anecdotal
different.
argument.
That's a little different. There's definitely exceptions to the rule. And for me, I'm not here to advocate whether or not younger men use older women for fetish purposes, or you know what I mean, to have fun or whatever the situation is. Because I mean, that doesn't apply to me. I'm in it. I happily,
I know your situation.
so but I mean, there's exceptions to the rule. You can't say that,
Well,
oh,
we aren't saying
it's
that there aren't
anecdotal. I
exceptions.
mean, if
It
several
is
people are saying, if
if it's
several people are
I'm
saying
sorry,
that
go ahead.
themselves, and I'm sorry, I'm just going to say, if several people are saying that themselves and others don't share that mind frame, now what you kind of spoke on a little bit, there's people who are delusional. There's people who want to twist the what are actually facts to fit their narrative, but I'm not speaking on that. I'm talking about people who are actually uh, in situations, live through situations, who don't fit that narrative. That's all I'm
All
saying.
right. So
Zilla, go ahead and say what you gotta say. Then I want to say something.
an exception to the rule is anecdotal. That's so you called it an exception. You said there are exceptions to the rule, but there isn't. I wouldn't call it anecdotal. but those are the same thing. If it's not the average, then we should be instructing each other and giving each other advice based off of what happens most commonly. To make long-term decisions based off of what happens 1% or 2% or 5% of the time, I think is bad planning.
I think that the rule then needs to be changed. I mean, it's not necessarily saying that it's not an issue, because I'm all about solutions. Let's talk about it. Let's, like I go back to, it's all about being honest with somebody. Whether or not women want to realize that in this particular instance of situation, it is what it is. Some will, some won't. But there's definitely a lot of women who don't feel that way or have lived that situation.
Miss Sabrina, listen, this is just me personally. I'm not going to advise like an older woman to like try to pursue I'm not gonna advise I'm not gonna advise any older woman to try to like pursue serious relationships with men that are significantly older than them, especially if they're a woman that is childless and she does want to have a family and have children one day and stuff. I'm not going to advise because like I said, whether they want to accept it or not, like, and you said, well, if he's dating her for 3 or 4 years, I don't really see that as a fetish or whatever. But if I decide that I don't want to be in a relationship with you anymore, and now you're 4 years older now, you was 34, now you're 38, and you didn't get a child out of me, you didn't get a marriage out of me, like, it's going to be much tougher for you as a woman going forward than it is for me now. So do you agree with that or no?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't encourage it either. I definitely would not encourage it. No. I would not.
Zilla, do you have something to say before we go to the next one?
I would just say that if everything's equal, I think that's what a lot of women need to put in their mind. If everything's equal, even with your male partner, like just think about this. Sexes aside, if everything that you're looking for in a person is in a person, which one are you gonna pick? The younger person or the older person? Everything's the same. Finances, love, all that. Are you gonna pick the older man or the younger man? And if you pick the younger person, then you completely understand the argument.
He's asking you, Miss Sabrina.
If everything else is the same, then I'm sorry, my echo's back. No, but yeah, if everything else is the same, then obviously, if everything's the same, I don't see why that would matter. But again, my fight and my argument isn't to say that I encourage this scenario at all.
I'm just saying I'll just speak for myself as an older gentleman, because I'm in the older gentleman bracket now. I can date younger and I can date my age. I see a lot of women my age get mad and not mad, but they all they'll make cut their eyes or have an issue with me dating or even being with a younger woman, and they'll be like, "Why are you dating that young girl? You must be trying to manipulate her." Not that I'm dating or anything like that, but just in general, if I'm going to go for a woman, if I can get what I want in a younger woman, all things considered, I'm going to take a younger woman. That's not to say that older women wouldn't be a selection. It's just saying if you're giving me a choice, I'm going to pick the younger woman. That's just the honest truth.
And before we go to the next question, I just want to say something. When men are like when men are interested in or dating younger women, a lot of women, their eyebrows raise and they question: is he trying to manipulate her? Is he grooming her? And this, that, and the third. But when women are interested in and dating younger men, they're called cougars. And I just find that to be very interesting. I don't know why it's like that, but I find that to be very interesting. Okay, Miss Sabrina, do you think a woman's education, accomplishments, career, success, etc., increases her marriage prospects in a man's eyes?
I believe a certain type. I think it would change the type of man that she possibly ends up with. But overall, just being a candidate for marriage, I don't necessarily think so. It depends. Like if she's looking for a certain specific type of man that's in a certain tax bracket, then I feel like yeah, those accomplishments should match or be up to par with what his are. But no, it doesn't.
I like this is my whole thing, Miss Sabrina. Listen, I don't know how many times men have to say the same thing. Men are visual, men are physical. So if a man doesn't find you attractive to start off with, all that other stuff is not even going to matter.
So
Now, if
you
he does
say
find
that.
you attractive, he'll appreciate it and he'll respect it, but it's not going, ultimately, it's not going to. And this is another thing.
So hold
You're,
on, but wait a minute. I'm sorry, but this is the same type of we're going down the road of where because men have the argument a lot of times that oh well a woman only thinks that she's supposed to show up with her looks and that's supposed to be good enough. We're going down that lane. So do you feel that that's all a woman really would need to bring to the table? Because if she
no.
looks good, that should suffice?
No, I don't think her, she should lead and only lead with her looks. I don't think that her looks she should think that her looks should be the only thing that suffices, but she can have looks and she can bring a lot. A woman can have looks and not have no brain and still bring a lot of other things, a lot of other valuable traits to a man. Because this is what I'm about
Sure.
to tell you. Um she can have her master's, she can have her PhD and stuff, but that stuff has no correlation to like how you are as a person, how you're going to
Absolutely.
treat it. Oh, 1 second. How you're going to treat a man, how you are as a partner. That stuff has no correlation to that stuff. And you can have all of that stuff and you not even know how to, like, I don't know, make some eggs or like make a sandwich or do laundry, do these quote unquote feminine things. So what does it really matter? And this goes both ways. I can be super accomplished, but my emotional maturity in relationships and my emotional intelligence in relationships is non-existent. So what does it matter at that point?
I see what you're saying, but it's almost like to me like splitting hairs. Like, okay, well, the men are going to lead with what they're physically attracted to. It's not going to matter. They'll still marry her. But then, oh, but no, I also mean that she has a good heart. You know what I'm saying? But no,
Well, can I,
I
can I, look, can I interject on that before you go into that, if you don't mind?
Go ahead, bro.
The reason why that question is posed that way is because if we're talking about the majority, women lead with their finances, women lead with their education, women lead with the things that we don't really care about in a relationship. We ask them, how will you treat us? We ask them, when you cook for us? We ask them, when you clean for us? That doesn't mean you're our servant. We're just simply asking, are you willing to do those things? And a lot of women will say, why would I do those things when I've been cooking and cleaning for myself? Why would I go and do this for a man that's on the same level as me? The only man I'm willing to submit and do these things for in a relationship is
Vada,
gonna
can you
be
please mute?
is gonna be a man who makes more money than me, so therefore I feel comfortable submitting because he makes so much money. They value their submission in money, just like they think that we value their education. Not that they don't think they know we don't value their education. I think a lot of women who lead with education or lead with the things that are not intangibles in our relationships are the women who are completely complaining about their selection of men. The men who see value in your education and all those things are usually the men who don't have the education level for you, or the men that are looking to hold on to you and bring themselves up off of your finances, bring themselves off of your education and things like that. A man that already has that, like myself, I'm college educated, have my own business, live in my own home, all those type of things. I'm not going to go look for a woman that has all these things, because whether you are the smartest woman in the world, the dumbest woman in the world, that don't really matter to me. It's how do you treat me? How do you make me feel when I come in the house? Are you attentive to my needs? Can I be attentive to your needs? There's things that women don't lead with. So, us as men, that question is posed to say, why do women lead with those type of things, knowing that those are not the things that we look for? That's what they say out their mouths, as if that's some type of badge of honor, or that's going to make us be like, damn, she's smart. Oh, I want
My
her.
point.
Doesn't matter.
Because Miss Brina, if I'm not physically attracted to her, and she tells me, well, I got this X Y, I'm not physically attracted to you, so it don't even matter. Like I'm not about to
No, I
change
get
my
what you're
mind
saying.
because you have those accomplishments.
The way that he just posed it to me, I understand a little bit differently. No, that makes sense though. I mean, I think that that's again another conversation that should be had. If you lead with wanting to know those things, women should get the that. I wouldn't lead with that personally. I think the core values and necessities of every day, how do you conduct yourself, you know what I'm saying, matters more importantly than what your education is, because you can have an education and be crazy. You can have an education and not be, you know what I mean, somebody
Yep.
that is cooperative in a relationship, somebody who
My point.
doesn't want to, you know what I'm saying. So I agree on that.
I could be a very successful man, but treat you like trash. Do you still want to be with me?
Right. So again, and I know people who are with very successful people simply for the fact that they're successful, but how rich is that relationship? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Okay.
It's where you value your worth at the end of the day.
Okay. So the last one, Mr. Bruno, we have a beautiful 25-year-old woman and we have a beautiful 35-year-old woman. And the age range of the men or the man is the same as above, like 25 to 40. Um, this man and both of these women are childless, and the man is childless as well. The man does not plan on having children anytime soon. Um, because he's working on himself. He's getting himself together, getting his money up, getting his knowledge, his skills up. But he wants to have a family one day. He wants to be married. He wants to have kids. He wants to have a house, cars, all that. Between those two women, between both of those two childless women, who do you think has more prospects for serious long-term relationships? The 25-year-old woman or the 35-year-old woman?
Definitely the younger woman. A younger woman is always going to have more opportunity when it comes to dating. Definitely. I mean, that's definitely a given. I can't argue with that.
Okay. Zilla, do you disagree or? Okay.
No, I don't disagree. But a woman having options, and I think that what type of options does she have? Obviously she's gonna have options because she's beautiful. She has all the things that she needs for herself to maintain her own lifestyle. But and that's attractive to like a man like myself. If I don't have to step in and afford, like, basically fund your lifestyle, I think that's attractive. I don't like a woman that requires me to do anything. It's
Mhm.
like, absolutely not. And from what I'm hearing from her, she's at the table of, you can lead in certain situations, pay this, pay that. She's in she sounds like a team mentality type of mind state, and that's great. That's what you should have in a relationship. But you see so many women portray themselves as being they want to be a dependent. You might as well file them on your taxes. That's what you hear them saying all the time. So it's like, what man is going to be attracted to something like that? Why go get all these book smarts? Why go get all these degrees if you're just going to sit around and let a man take care of you? I just don't understand it. Why are you not building? Why are you not, and then they build with the wrong people. And then they make it seem like we're, all the rest of us men in society need to get on their level. Like, no, you need to get on your own level because you picking the wrong men, because you're allowing these men who not meeting your standards to have access to you, but yet get mad when you don't get the results that you want. When you could have dealt with somebody on your level and been treated right and had those, and not saying I wasn't that type of person as I grew and got older. But the person I am now is not the person I was 10 years ago. I think that, when you date a certain type of person and y'all values don't align, like you said, y'all don't have that conversation, then you're gonna have these shortfalls. And that's the
Mhm.
accountability part that a lot of women won't take. It's always these men, these men, these men. But
Exactly.
you give us
Mhm.
the access to do these things. You know what I'm saying? I've always dated women that made more than me. Always. I was not high school. I was in college, and a woman was buying me rental cars and all kind of stuff. This woman was a lot older than me, and I was, playing basketball and stuff, and she was doing stuff for me, and she was an older woman, and younger one was getting mad, like, why are you dealing with this old woman? You know why I'm dealing with her? She putting money in my pocket. You know what I'm saying? She bringing me food. She doing all these things for me. The younger women, they wasn't willing to do anything. They weren't even trying to have a conversation. So I'm like, man, hell no.
So
Y'all
Zilla, are
run.
you
You know
saying
what I'm
that
saying?
she's doing she was doing the things for you that you now don't want to have to do for a woman?
Oh
Because
no
it
no.
sounded like you was
Oh
treated
yeah.
like a
No,
bad
I
bitch.
was younger. No. So I was younger then. I mean, I was younger then, so I wasn't. This wasn't a relationship thing. I don't know. This is just more so access to each other type deal. But I'm just saying, like, that was a situation where I understand where women come from, saying they want to be taken care of and have people do things for them. That's great. But long term speaking, you know, I as a person that does for himself, I just don't see value in that. I think that if we're going to be a team, let's be a team. Otherwise, if I need somebody to take care of me, that's a different situation. Some women grow up watching their father do a lot of things. Some women grow up without their fathers, and I grew up with most of my life without my father, and I still turned out a good person in society. I'm not out here creating abuse or committing essay or any of those things. So I hate when people say, "Oh, if you got a father," I didn't have a father. That I had sisters and mothers that I didn't want to embarrass in society, and that was enough. So I mean, it just depends on the mentality of the person.
But can we
Yeah,
agree that you was treated like a bad bitch?
I was. You goddamn right, I was. What you mean? I had a credit card and everything.
Hey,
Shit.
Miss Sabrina, do you have any last words you want to say before I bring another woman on?
I definitely agree with you saying about accountability. I always like to sum that up is in any situation, whether you're the man or the woman, you have to have accountability for your choices. You have to have accountability for sometimes what goes wrong in situations, but you just have to be honest, man. Definitely, upbringing can play a part into it. Like he said, he grew up with all women, but he chose to take whatever lessons was passed down to him and apply it later on in life to mean and stand on something. But a lot of these people don't have a strong family foundation, and they choose to go off of and be led by people who are giving them the wrong message. So, just summing it up with that.
I
But thanks for
agree.
having me on.
Thank you. Always appreciate you. Have a good night.
You too.
All right.